Hello, my name is Alethea Thomas and I do booktube videos normally, so this is a little bit out of the ordinary for me, but I felt like I needed to do a review video because this was a topic I was searching all over YouTube for, the internet for, and I could not find answers anywhere. I thought it was my responsibility to talk about these two tea kettles, talk about the pros, talk about the cons, and kind of just my general thoughts and opinions on it. So if you are in the market for a tea kettle and you are considering one of these two, then continue to watch. The two tea kettles that I am talking about are the Alessi, which was designed by Michael Graves. I think I want to say back in the 80s or so. I'm not 100% sure. The Alessi tea kettle is a very good tea kettle. Very heavy duty. The bottom is quite thick on it. It is completely stainless steel. This is pretty much the standard one that you can purchase. I think I got this one from Target a few years back, like a decade ago. It comes in multiple colors. So if you go on to, I think Michael Graves has a website, or I think if you just look anywhere on the internet for the Alessi tea kettle, you can find this in all kinds of colors and all kinds of styles. And also it is known for this bird whistle in the top at the spout of the tea kettle. The bird whistle, they actually make different ones. You can get a dragon, for instance. You can get different colors. I know that they have a dragon that is gold even, that you could purchase for this particular kettle. You can use it on an induction range. I used mine on induction. I've used mine on gas. I've used mine on just a standard electric range, and it has worked just fine for all of those things. One of the things that will happen over time though is that you will end up with these heat marks all over the bottom of your kettle, but that happens with any kettle. I don't think I have used a kettle that hasn't ended up with some kind of a scorching mark on the bottom. One thing that this kettle did come with that you'll notice is actually gone. There it used to be an emblem, and I think it was probably on this side, that had an industrial strength adhesive that was heat resistant on it, and it said Michael Graves on it. That is gone. I actually boiled water too much in this, and the water boiled out, so there was nothing in it, and the kettle itself got too hot, and then what had happened was that emblem ended up shriveling up and eventually coming off. And so what I did was I just, took it off, and then I took some adhesive remover and I got the adhesive off of it. So if that happens to you, don't freak out. You can salvage your tea kettle. It will be fine. So this is, like I said, it's a really great kettle. I've enjoyed this kettle for like over a decade. I've probably had it for 12 years or longer, and it's been good. The only con that I have had with this is that right here along where it is welded to the actual body of the pot, it has leaked before. If I have the bird whistle on and the top really solidly on there and closed, and it's really full of water, and I think it's those three things combined, there's enough pressure that builds up from boiling that the water will actually start leaking out of the spout there. So that is an issue I have come across, but this is after many years of using this kettle. And I think that if you got a brand new one, you probably would not encounter that issue. After so long, maybe you would. But that's really the only big con to this. I think that this kettle, it is not 1.7 ounces. 1.7 quarts. I will put down here somewhere how large this kettle is. It doesn't hold as much water as I would like. So that is probably another con. If they had made this in a larger version, I probably would have bought that larger version because I boil and use a ton of hot water. I will have tea 3 to 4 times a day, and I mean like an entire teapot full of tea. Like I will make it first thing in the morning, usually at lunch, and then sometimes I do it for dinner as well, but like I have an herbal tea, say for after dinner, because I don't like to have caffeine like after 5 o'clock usually. So this is the Alessi Great Teapot, and I'm going to set this one aside and get the other, I'm sorry, not teapot. I keep saying teapot. If I say teapot, just know that I mean kettle. So this is that kettle. So this is the other kettle. This is the Le Crueset Classic Kettle. This one I got in stainless steel. I felt like the stainless steel was going to be better than the enamel steel because the enamel ones are known to have a problem where if that enamel wears off or cracks in any way, then the entire pot is going to rust over time. So I wanted to avoid that and spend a little bit extra money and get the stainless steel. You set the Alessi to the side. So, you know, putting them side by side like I did, you notice this one is a little bit bigger. The shape of it is more like a bell, whereas the Alessi is really shaped like a triangle. They are very similar in size, but this one actually holds a lot more water because of the shape of it. It also is a bit fatter at the top, if you'll notice. So I think that that also contributes to the amount of water that it can hold. Now it's not really a significant amount of water that it can, it's not really a significantly larger amount of water that it can hold, but I do think that this can boil more hot water than the other one without having too many issues. So it is a lovely shape, classically designed. It looks fabulous on your range. I also think the Alessi looks good on the range as well. If you have a more modern home, I would definitely say go with the Alessi because it looks modern. It looks interesting. The whistle is nice. This one also comes with a whistle that you can flip up and down. The lid on it seals very, very tightly. This is designed to be grabbed and to be held and to be shaken about, and it is not really going to move, but it will go up and down for you, but not the other way. It only goes one way up and down. So it's pretty convenient to be able to take that off and pop the lid off. This lid is very tight, I will say. I have had to really like pull to get it off. So this one is 1.7 quarts, and it is a lot of water. I have been able to fill an entire teapot no problem with the water that comes from this kettle. The whistle, I will say, is not the nicest sound ever. I do feel like the Alessi has a better sounding whistle than this particular whistle. This one isn't, there's something about the pitch about it. It's not as nice to listen for, but it is loud, so you will hear it. I've been using this one for probably 3 weeks at this point, and it's very good. It's very heavy. The bottom of this thing is secure. It is heavy. You could probably smash somebody in the face with this kettle and it wouldn't dent. I would not suggest like smashing it on the floor or something or a hard surface because then yes, it will dent. But it is a classically designed kettle. It is beautiful. Okay, so the cons about this kettle, I have a few, and I mean they're not super bad or anything. It might be a little bit nitpicky on my part, but there are a few things. One of the things is the handle. Yeah, I mean I can do this and it's totally fine, but I feel like anybody that's older than myself or has kind of arthritic problems is going to have a problem doing this action, especially if the kettle itself is full of hot water. It's heavy. I mean, it's already heavy, and it takes a lot of wrist action to do that. Whereas the Alessi with its curved handle, it feels easier to do. It also is gripped well, and it feels smoother. It's more of a shoulder action than at this point. So, you know, whereas this, yeah, you can do it with your shoulder, but you can't get it really twisted well, whereas with the Alessi, since it's curved, it feels more natural. I don't know. So that was my major gripe number one. I don't know if a classically designed kettle could have this sort of a handle and not look and still look classic. That's probably what I'm trying to say. Is I don't know if that is really possible. So if you want a classic kettle, just expect more, you know, more muscle behind the actual action. The other thing is that boiling water in this doesn't take very long. It's actually pretty good. I feel like the Alessi is a little bit faster though because of its design. The way that steam goes up to the top and then comes down. This seems like it would spread out a bit more, where the Alessi kind of concentrates that steam and then pushes it back down. Also, when you boil water in this and then you take it directly off the cooktop, open it up and start to pour the water out, that boiling water is still boiling in there, I'm thinking, and it shoots out of this spout. Like it has splattered all over my cooktop before from me just starting to pour it into a vessel. And that could potentially be dangerous if you're not aware of it at first. If you've got small children around, it could splash that hot water all over the place or on the kids potentially. So I am just kind of really cautious about that now that I know it will do that. And I just kind of make sure that I let it sit and rest for a minute before I pour it into a vessel then. I never had that problem with the Alessi, ever, in the decade I've had it. So anyway, what I'm gonna do next is put water in these at the same temperature, side by side on my induction cooktop, and we're gonna see who boils faster. So I think that will be, you know, a good test as well, just to see who boils faster. Stay tuned. All right, so we are on my induction cooktop right now, and I am getting ready. I'm getting the water ready. So I am going to be using the same amount of water for each of these, and I'm going to actually set the kettles out on the cooktop here for about 10 minutes so that the temperature of both of them is exactly the same. So I think 10 minutes will do that. I am going to be putting as much water as I can. I think about 3 cups of water. This is a 4-cup measure. I think 3 cups of water will be fine. So I'm going to put 3 cups in each, and again set them out for 10 minutes so that they can equalize in temperature. So I will be right back. All right, here's my 3 cups of water. I just put some in the Alessi, and now I'm going to put the same amount into the Classic, the Le Crueset Classic. Same amount of water. And I'm going to seal both. You see, they both have that nice seal on the lid. So I do appreciate that from both of them. And now I'm going to let these rest for the next 10 minutes so that they're exactly the same temperature. Okay. Hello again. It is 10 minutes later now, and I am ready to start our little experiment, and I will be turning on both of these eyes to the hottest setting. They're exactly the same. So let's do that. Do that. Hopefully they'll both work at the same time. Sometimes it's been a little iffy, but they've been pretty good lately. All right, exactly the same. They're both turned on. Well, let's see how quickly this does it. It usually doesn't take very long. Okay, so that was the actual boil test. The Alessi was faster than the Le Creuset. I do think it's just the size difference that really made the difference there on those. So I'm gonna do a pour test for you really quick since these have just boiled. And then we're gonna talk about price point and then just my overall reflections on this. So let me try and get this camera positioned a little bit better so we can do this pour test like pretty well. Okay, so I think that the camera is pretty well positioned for this. So I'm gonna do the pour test. This water has just boiled, and this is the Alessi that I'm starting with. One of the things about the Alessi is when you take this off, it does just come off. You can't, you know, put it to the side or turn the bird or anything like that. The whistle has to come off completely. So you need to be aware of that, you know, use proper protection. If you notice, I use the knit part of my sweater here because it's nice and thick and I'm not gonna get burned. So just be aware of that. So this is the pour right out of the Alessi. Very easy, always been super simple. Just right in to the vessel, no problem. So there you go, there's the Alessi. Now we're going to get the Le Creuset. Again, this is just boiled. This you have to flip up the little whistle. That is very convenient on the Alessi, but here is my problem if it happens this time. I did let it sit for a few minutes. So you see how much water comes out of there? And it didn't happen this time. But sometimes, if you are not careful, and you have just boiled, and it's still boiling in the pot, which is I think where my mistake is, it will come spilling forth out of this spout very quickly and very, very hot. So just be aware of that. I don't know if it's the shape of the actual spout itself or if it's just because you have to really wait a minute or what, but you know, it causes it to just spew forth like crazy. So I just wanted to really make that a point of this. Anyway, so there's the pour test. I think they both do very well. I think they're both great. And let me put this back up for my review. Okay, so that was the testing out of both of the Alessi and the Le Creuset tea kettles. I want to talk about price point really quickly on both of these. So the Alessi can be more expensive. I did look it up. If you were to buy a brand new Alessi whistling tea kettle today, it's going to cost you anywhere from $100 on Amazon to $245 if you were to buy it on Williams-Sonoma website. That's a huge span. It's a huge span in price. And it is expensive. It is a designer kettle. It's still a great kettle though. I love my kettle. The whole reason I decided to buy the Le Creuset kettle was because I had the Alessi kettle for over a decade, continually using it, like I said, for like, I want to say 12 years at this point. And always enjoying it. It's never failed me. It's never like exploded. Nothing really bad has happened. I will say that one thing that has changed on it is if you can see the very top here, and this is very hot, so I'm going to be careful. There is some rubbing that has gone on. This is a glass, I believe, or some kind of high heat plastic. This is plastic as well. This is plastic. And it has gotten some wear over the years, and I think that's just from the heat. And I don't know if they're little cracks or if it's just paint or what, but that wear has happened there. That is supposed to be all silver and not have any of that white showing. But I do think, again, that's just the age of that kettle and my use of it over and over again for a very long time. The Le Creuset is a very similar in price point on the lower end though. You can get the Le Creuset anywhere from about $90 to $135 was the highest price that I saw on this particular kettle. This all stainless steel, the all stainless steel one, I think can get up to about $145. It just depends on where you're looking. Again, they do come in a variety of colors from Le Crueset. Basically, if you already have Le Crueset cookware, you can match your Le Crueset colors. The red is a very popular option, but they have all sorts of colors. I considered getting the colors, but I did kind of do some research on these tea kettles and decided that I was not going to get an enamel one because of the potential of the cracking or, you know, the wearing of that enamel, even on the inside of the kettle itself, and potentially the entire kettle rusting. They have a 5-year warranty on those kettles just because of that, but I would rather not take the risk, and I would rather have something for a very, very long time. So I did get the stainless steel one. This is still very hot, so I'm being very careful with it. But yeah, I mean, it's a good kettle. I don't have a problem with it. I do use it a lot. It holds a lot of water. That's really why I got it. And when I boil water with it, you know, just being aware of the problems I've had with it spewing out, you know, just being careful with it. And I will use this thing every single day. I know I will. And you know, it serves my needs really well. I don't have to boil multiple kettles worth of water to get enough water to put in some of my larger teapots that I've got. I have some very large teapots in my collection, and I use those for when I have lots of guests over and just have to end up serving a lot of tea. This is my everyday kind of teapot. This is a 6-cup. I do drink a lot of tea, I will fully admit. Personally, I drink a lot of tea. But when you drink a lot of tea like I do, having a really good kettle is very important. So, anyway, I think that that's going to be it for my review. I do like them both. I think that they're fantastic kettles. I think the Alessi has lasted me so long, and if they made a larger size of the Alessi, I probably would have bought another one of those. But I went ahead and went with the Le Crueset because I knew it was larger, and I knew that it would look really good on my countertop. So I think that that's it. You really can't go wrong with either. They're going to serve your purpose just fine. And I think that's it. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if this was helpful at all. And we will see you all in another video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.